Okay, guys. Hello. This is Kiru's show here, and before I get into this, what if? This is basically I'm going to start with fear, the quirk I made, and I'm going to explain it a bit better. Because rewatching it, I realized I kind of left out a bit of a detail. The way fear works exactly is Deku can manifest his fear into a physical form. But in doing so, he also basically uses another quirk with it. He's using his weaponize ability along with his fear ability at the same time. Those two basically combined to make, well, I guess, well, not Black Whip, but I didn't want to call it like a light whip or anything like that. It's essentially like he can shoot spikes, do all that, and actually do anything that he can do with his other quirks. But he just basically manifests armor. Well, not armor, but he manifests certain things with them. I need to go back over the note I made for this. I had it somewhere. I need to find it. Anyways, but that is one thing about the quirk. It has always been there, but Deku just hasn't known how to use it. He essentially used part of it whenever he first manifested the rest of his quirks, whenever he had his nose blown off. Everyone was so afraid that what everyone saw was Deku's distorting. He was not only fading in and out of reality, but everything was distorting around him and intensifying and distorting. So this is basically an illusion style quirk, but it can also manifest physical things whenever he mixes it with his other quirk. So he can basically make an illusion using someone's fear. It's basically like Scarecrow, but he uses the actual chemicals in your brain along with his own. So he basically creates something that not only he can be afraid of, but his opponent can be afraid of. If he tries using it solely on whatever he thinks he's afraid of, what he thinks his opponent is afraid of, okay, that's not a very good explanation. Anyways, whenever they are afraid, he can use that and create illusions along with physical things to make them feel fear. And the Black Whip part of it that isn't Black Whip, it's basically two quirks mixing together and mutating into a new one. But he can keep them separate. I really need to find that note I made. Now then, that is what I'm trying to explain, but whenever I find that, I will try and explain it a little. I had a better explanation written down. I promise you. Now, let us go to Deku's home. Deku is laying down, he's asleep, and he keeps being haunted by a single nightmare. Basically what is going on is he is reliving that entire thing at the USJ, and all he remembers is having he's vaguely seeing parts of his memory that he's missing. He's remembering feeling his heartbeat stop and actually seeing Shigaraki turn his heart to dust after ripping it out of his chest. He's also seeing the Nomu being caught on fire, along with hearing Shigaraki scream. Now he would then wake up and immediately he would be waking up screaming. Deku's mom and dad would come in, and they would ask Deku what's wrong, and he would just say that he's fine and he just needs to go out for a walk. They ask him what's going on, and they would know about the diagnosis, saying that it's okay if he needs to talk to someone, and he would just say that he's going for a walk. But he'd say it more sternly. And he would then pick up his key and actually pick up his phone, and he would actually see if she's in the office, or Miss Kenjo's in the office. She would pick up saying that she is here, and she is actually staying the night and talking with one of her current patients. This is whenever Deku would fly over and actually unlock the place with his key and lock it behind him. Now then, He would then walk into her office, or he would walk into the gym, and he would start working out. And let's say an hour and 30 minutes would pass by, and she would eventually walk in and see that he's working out more intensely than usual. She's asking him what he's doing, and he's saying that he's just trying to forget what happened, and he's just trying to take his mind off of it. She would tell him that that's not what he's doing, and she would ask for an honest answer. He would just say that he doesn't want to try and sleep again because he just has the same nightmare over and over again. And it's all he ever seems to think about. She would then explain that manifesting a quirk at the age of 4, is less costing to your mind. It's easier because your mind is still developing. It's not as developed as being born with a quirk, but that's essentially what a mutation is. You are born with you are born different, and you would know this growing up, so you're able to understand it better. But manifesting it at the age of 4 can be very different, because sometimes it can manifest violently, like how your 10th one did. How your 10th quirk did, and the rest of your quirks did. But from what you're describing, manifesting a quirk at the age of 15, that's not unheard of. Some people may have gone their entire lives without realizing they had a quirk. When they finally learned how to use it, or manifested as they called it, it seemed to be out of nowhere. Now, this is whenever Bakugo and Toru would walk in, along with Todoroki. He would ask what they're doing here, and she would have said that she spent the last hour trying to get into contact with them. But Bakugo and Toru seemed to already be on their way. Or Bakugo was already here, but Toru and Todoroki were actually already on their way. Now, Deku would think that his parents probably called them, while Bakugo may have actually been here to talk to Miss Kenjo. She would then say that Bakugo has been here working on his mental state with his quirk, and these two are actually here to talk to you, if not help you a bit. This is whenever Todoroki would say that you helped me work through my problems with my dad's fire, or my quirk, but why can't you just accept that you have another one? It's understandable that you're scared of having another quirk, but that just means you have to learn how to control it. Deku would say that, listen, Todoroki, it's not the fact that I manifested a 10th quirk that's bothering me, it's how I manifested them. They always ever seem to be connected to violence, and me always almost dying. And it's not the fact that I have 10 of them that scares me. It's I don't know how many I will actually ever have. Now, as soon as he heard this, Miss Kenjo would have actually realized that all Deku's life, he essentially was born with, he always had quirks. Anytime he thought he had a limit, he always got more. And the fact that he thought he died and actually just manifested another one is what's actually bothering him. Because Deku's never had any sense of self-preservation. But after having his heart ripped out and manifesting a new quirk, he essentially feels it. He essentially always had an emotion locked. Whenever it finally kicked in, that's when this quirk kicked in. Now, he would then start explaining a lot of his problems with how he has it, and they would just explain that means you feel human, Midoriya. That means that, essentially, a quirk gave you back the ability to feel fear, so you're human again. Deku would actually understand this, and he would just start working out to work out his frustration. Now, he would spend the next 3 to 4 hours actually working out, and this is whenever his adrenaline would kind of spike. So he would just keep going and going and going, and he would just turn on his amp ability, keeping himself going. He would then work out for 12 hours straight before finally getting tired and just punching a wall out of frustration as he just keeps screaming at himself. Now then, Toro would then walk in after having a power nap in, let's say, a spare room they at least had, or at least on the couch at the therapist room. She would then say that she's going to be working out and she hopes that, well, she'd be very nervous, but she'd just say that, how about they do some light sparring, because she kind of needs to train her enhancement ability, and he seems that he needs someone to talk to. And she means genuinely talk to. This is whenever Deku would actually just say that that's probably not a good idea, and she would then just say that she has an enhancement quirk too. Heck, she might be able to take you. I might be able to take you down. Are you afraid to fight me? How about this? You only use your enhancement quirk. Deku would then say that that's fine, but don't expect him to go easy on her. Her and Deku would probably fight for the next 30 minutes before Deku would finally just start talking, and this is whenever she would talk with him for about another 30 minutes, and Deku would finally just feel exhausted after talking and getting his frustrations out. He would then ask where Bakugo is, and she would just say that last time she saw him, he was still talking with Miss Kenjo, and she actually got him something she actually got him something. This is whenever Bakugo would then walk in with a pair of goggles and, what is it? A different gauntlet. He would then say that Miss Kenjo has asked to perform some weird form of therapy. Deku would ask what Bakugo means, and he would say that, well, they kinda want to see what's going on with your new quirk. He would then say that they want to ask you if you would like to. They want me to blow you up till you use your quirk again. Deku would try and use his quirk, but it's not working, like how it did against the Nomu. He would then actually go to try and weaponize his arm, and whenever he looks down and turns his arm welds his fist together to weaponize it, he would actually just turn into a blade. Now, Deku's confused because this isn't what he tried to make. He would then try and turn it back into his regular arm, and it would immediately just coat itself from the fear chemical, turning it a bit black. He's then even more confused as he would bring his arm up, looking at it, saying that he didn't even mean to do this. Toro would bring up the fact that that's kind of creepy, but it seems like since you have a new quirk, there might be some new rules to your other ones. He would say that kind of makes sense, but wait. He would then try and turn it off, and he can't do that, and as soon as he gets scared, it would immediately actually turn off, and he was even more confused. They would then realize that this new quirk, it's all about fear, the way he uses it, and the way he controls it. Now, after that, Bakugo would then tell him that essentially they're going to try and pull out that power. Well, Miss Kenjo and a lot of the other doctors are saying that they should try and pull out that power he used against the Nomu. And essentially, they want me to blow you up until you finally pull it out of you. or until you finally pull the power out yourself. Now, as soon as Deku would hear this, he would realize that not only is this therapy for him, and a way to get him to train his quirk, to improve his regeneration, and try and master a new quirk, he'd realize that this is going to be a form of therapy for Bakugo too. And he would then ask if he can see the gauntlet before they go outside and do this. And this is one of her... Well, Deku would actually show Bakugo... Well, not this form of gauntlet, but it looks like this one. Because Bakugo... Since Bakugo is a bit more serious of a hero, he doesn't care about flashiness, so... He wouldn't have those little, these little things he has on his hero costume, but he would have the earmuffs, and he would have gone for more of a tactical look. And I actually really like this redesign, and I think I've actually seen the person draw this. Or not the person. I think I've seen the YouTube video where they redraw character outfits. Like, something like this, I think I've seen someone draw. But he would essentially bring out the glove, and he would then put in the earmuffs. And he would actually hand a pair over to Toro. And Deku would say, what, doesn't he get a pair? Bakugo would then laugh at him, saying that he thinks that hearing damage is the least of his problem. As he would put on a pair of glasses and earmuffs, actually throwing explosions at Deku. Now, Deku is being hit by explosion after explosion, and he would just tell Bakugo would always ask him if he's okay, and if they need to keep going, and Deku would always just give him a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And Bakugo would just keep blowing and blowing him up, until it would get to the point where Deku, he has... One of his arms is completely missing, like this arm, his left arm is completely missing, his ribcage is showing, and he's actually missing his eye that's been glowing this whole time. Now then, after Deku would actually tell Bakugo to hit him square in the chest, or try and crack his sternum, or do something crazy like that, Bakugo would refuse. And Deku would immediately just regenerate. Deku would then say that he actually feels the fear, and try and use his quirk. They would be doing this for the next several days, if not the next 2 weeks, in preparation for the sports festival. And Bakugo would actually get his quirk improved, along with getting these gauntlets actually signed off on to be used in the sports festival. And then Deku would actually get a bit more of an understanding of his new quirk. Now, as soon as this would start, Deku's giving the speech. He would just teleport on stage and actually grab the microphone. People are looking at him, and he would say that his name is Izuku Midoriya. And as many people of you know, I'm famous for being the only person in the world with 9 quirks. Recently, I found out that I don't have 9 quirks, but I was attacked and actually awakened a new one. People would then be in shock as the crowd starts muttering to themselves and asking what this new quirk could be. Deku would then say that this new quirk is very villainous. He's still trying to get a handle on it, and it's getting harder and harder to do. Because it essentially, the way his mind's been working for the last couple of years, he hasn't been able to feel scared because of one of his other quirks. And this new quirk, essentially, anytime he feels intense pain, it will awaken. So it's essentially it will awaken in time of desperation quirk, or a last-ditch effort to keep him alive. But he's somewhat been able to try and use it Along with that, he actually had a friend who he helped save, or he helped along the way. Now, this is whenever he would give the speech saying that not all quirks are created equals, not even people are created equal, because he was always treated like a villain, if not like he was just some crazy murderer, when he's only ever killed a mindless beast that tried to kill him. well, after it killed him, essentially, after explaining it ripped out his heart. Now, the race would begin after people would be somewhat hesitant to clap for Deku, but they would end up doing so. After All Might would have actually appeared in one of the areas clapping for Midoriya. Now, the race would immediately begin, and Todoroki would try just freezing the area in ice. Deku would get caught in it, and he would be one of the only people who do, but his entire body was caught in it. Now, he would immediately use his quirk to thaw himself out and just create a portal, jumping straight through it. Actually, just landing. The portal would immediately just open up on the floor of the finish line. Deku would immediately just do a flip through it and land on his feet in less than 3 seconds. Actually, probably beating Mario's time of, I think it was 28 seconds. People are saying that that's amazing and that was weird because that was, a portal quirk? That's one of them. People are then muttering, asking what the rest of his quirks can be, because he said one was villainous, and he's got this really, really rare quirk also. Now, this is whenever, Toru would actually probably she would be very stressed out. She would try and do what Deku does. So let's say she has 20% of one for all after working out in the gym for hours after hours of the day, and actually training with Midoriya during some of those days, and actually trying to use her enhancement along with heavier weights. So she'd be at 20% a little uncomfortably, so it's that fine little line, and 25% is where it's actually starting to hurt her muscles, and 25 to 35% is where it's actual muscle strain. So she would be visible. Actually, people would be able to see her, and they're asking what her quirk is. And President Mike would have to explain that she has 2 quirks, and one of them is actually the same as Midoriya's. They would then ask what they mean, and she would immediately have just taken off from the finish line taken off from the start line after being almost encased in ice. Bakugo and Todoroki would they would tie for third still, but Toru would be in second place, and people would see her as... Now, Toru is actually visible. So they're kind of questioning, she got to the finish in probably a minute to a minute and a half. So people are thinking that might be the quirk that her and Deku both share. So they're calling her a quirklet because of how powerful that was. Now, Toru wouldn't say no to this, but she's just trying to ignore them because people just seem to be ignorant to what a quirklet really is. Because she can't really say that she doesn't classify as one now because she has an invisibility and enhancement quirk. So she could consider herself one, but not really, since the quirk was given to her and she didn't get it from birth. Now, she would be visible, like I probably did say, but it got cut off again, because now I have to cut 3 to 4 parts together because of that. And this is whenever she would then say that, she would ask Deku if he wants to be on a team, and he wouldn't reject this. And after that would happen, this is whenever Deku, he would be on a team, Mei would try and join him, and Ochako would be somewhat hesitant to join him, because she has actually been scared of him this whole time. Because she has actually been one of the only few people in 1A to see his raw destructive power. So as soon as they would be on a team, Deku would immediately just fly them up into the air, and Mei is trying not to freak out. They would immediately win, and Deku would then say that was fairly easy, and it wasn't really going to be that hard with his telekinesis. Mei is saying that she should have warned them that he had telekinesis, and he would just say that would ruin all the fun and flash her a smile. Now, Mei would be surprised as Deku's only ever looked intimidating, and with a smile, he actually is very intimidating. So this would change her entire perspective on what is going on, along with the crowds. Now, it is currently... Yeah, that is very, very... Ugh, brain is melting. It is very late, so I'm going to be ending this video here, and I'm going to go watch another episode of Steven Universe, and if I feel like it, I might upload the next part to this, because I don't really feel right actually just leaving this off of the 2 battles, or the two of the 3 parts of the sports festival, but as you guys know, I do like doing the battles as their own separate videos. If not, I do half the battles, and then the actual finale, like the semifinals, and the finale to that part. Now, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and I will catch you guys later. Also, actually, before I go, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, but... let's see. Yeah. Green oh my god, my brain is... I have the days off and my brain decides to stop working. Green manga. I would gender bend Deku, but if I do that, people might ask for weird ships, and I don't disapprove of those, but I just don't look into them. And we think that that's very weird. Okay. I would totally do it, but I don't want to keep saying she whenever I say he, because I would just start confusing myself with, because if I gender bend one person, I might have to gender bend a lot of others, doing all that, because people would start asking for that. And I would actually have to start keeping a very big list of who I did and who I did not gender bend. Because I would probably have to change up the rules of the universe. If not, I would probably just have to gender bend Deku. But that is still somewhat weird to me. Because I'm used to seeing him as a guy in a lot of what ifs, and the ones where he's not a guy, those ones that they are usually like, what if Deku had Starfire's quirk, what if Deku had Raven's quirk. I've even seen one where it was what if Deku was a rabbit girl, and that was very weird.